The college football playoff matchups between number 1 Clemson and number 4 Alabama in the All-State Sugar Bowl and number 2 Oklahoma and no. 3 Georgia in the Rose Bowl game are inching closer. With that, we have one reminder: get used to these matchups, because these 4 playoff powerhouses aren't going anywhere. More SN's bowl predictions. Back in August, Sporting News wondered if the 4-team playoff needed new blood in 2017. Alabama and Clemson will meet in the playoff for the 3rd consecutive time, and Oklahoma is back for a 2nd time. Georgia provides some new blood, but how much? Not a lot. Rope in Ohio State, which was the first team left out, and you come up with some interesting statistics over the first 4 years of the playoff era. Those 5 schools have combined for 12 of 16 playoff berths, 75%, and also accounted for 15 of the 44 New Year's Day 6 bowl spots given to Power 5 schools, roughly 34%. Is that hurting this sport? No, but it's a sign of even more separation in college football. Not just between the Power 5 and Group of 5, but within the Power 5 as well. A select group of powerhouses are running college football, with no real end in sight. That starts with the Tigers and Crimson Tide. Clemson Alabama 3 certainly has appeal, and it's a safe bet those 2 schools will be ranked number 1 and number 2 across most preseason polls next year. How much more domination can we handle? As we pointed out in August, having 2 teams reach the Final Four 3 times in 4 years rarely happens during March Madness. It has happened 3 times, with North Carolina and Kentucky each reaching 3 Final Fours from 199,598, UCLA and UNC making it from 196,769, and Cincinnati and Ohio State pulling it off from 196,062. But this dominance is bordering on the absurd. Alabama and Clemson each have a 342 record in the regular season the last 3 years. It's an almost unheard of 1A-1B dominance. As long as Nick Saban and Dabo Swinney are at those schools, they're going to be in the race. The same goes for Urban Meyer at Ohio State. The Buckeyes have made 2 appearances in 4 years, and were close in 2015 and 2017. Saban, Swinney and Meyer are the only active FBS coaches with national titles at their current school, given Jimbo Fisher just left Florida State for Texas A&M. Numbers to watch: Clemson, Alabama, Oklahoma, Georgia. Oklahoma and Georgia could be set up for similar runs under Lincoln Riley and Kirby Smart, who are both on the big stage sooner than expected. One of them will have the chance to join that national championship fraternity at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta on Jan. 8. That's easy to picture, but it's difficult to find a lot of schools who can actually break up this newly formed monopoly in 2018. Oregon, Florida State, Washington and Michigan State combined for a 14 record in their playoff appearances. The Ducks and Seminoles have new first-year coaches. Washington and Michigan State are on that list of teams that could get back next year. Who else? Where will that next challenge come from? Auburn is close. The Tigers beat Georgia and Alabama in the regular season. Miami was a year ahead of schedule under Mark Richt. Big Ten contenders Michigan, Penn State and Wisconsin will hover around the top 10, and USC has been close the last 2 years out of the Pac-12. Texas is a recruiting cycle or 2 away in the Big 12. Notre Dame was in the conversation for a while this year before losing against the Hurricanes, with the exception of Auburn. However, none of those schools has been that close this decade. We'll believe it when we see any of those schools win a conference championship and playoff game in the same season. That leaves just Clemson, Alabama and Ohio State, and the Oklahoma-Georgia winner will get its chance to join the club soon enough. Like it or not, the committee did get it right this season, and these matchups are the most compelling of the last 4 years. This group will likely start next season among the top 5. With Auburn sprinkled in after bringing in a top 10 recruiting classes across the board. This is your playoff now, and it's going to be your playoff until somebody breaks it up. We could see at least 3 of these teams back in next year, especially if the 2-sec model flops. Reruns are coming, and we're only on season 4.